In this video we're gonna learn about face detection using Azure Face Client API. So for detection we're gonna start with two important terms. One is detection and other one is the recognition, and hopefully we will have a dedicated video about face recognition too, but for this video we're gonna go with face detection rather than face recognition. And the basic idea while doing face detection is, suppose we have this cute funny guy, and these are the eyes and mouth, and I'm not good with drawing, so you gotta go with this. These are the hands and these are the legs. Alright, now we have this picture of funny little cute guy, and we have to detect if this picture contains a person or not. Alright, so this would be something like a person detection system, and similarly we have face detection. So the basic task that we are gonna perform is, like, we have a rectangular box around the face which would tell that, which will just detect if there's any face in the picture or not. So we are gonna not just build the whole system by ourselves, we are gonna use APIs which are provided on the Azure platform. So face detection using Azure Face Client API, this is the whole purpose of this video. I have actually implemented all the code beforehand, but if you want to get your hand dirty and try something by yourself, you can visit the docs of Microsoft. I have mentioned them in the link, or you can just search that in Google. They have mentioned everything very beautifully, and we're not going to be needing Drive for this tutorial, so I won't run that cell. Then we need this Azure Cognitive Services Vision Face module, so I'm going to just install that using pip and then Python. See, I have run this everything before, that's why it's showing me that requirements already satisfied, but you can try that and it will work in your system. So these are some libraries that we are going to use. Everything is mentioned again in the docs, so if you want to go check, you can just go check it by yourself. Then we will be needing a key and an endpoint that will be provided by your service, and I'm using a student account, so I got this from there. So this is the key and this is the endpoint, and then I have made a face client object or face client class. So it will need two parameters. One is the endpoint that we copied from my credentials, and you can check in your credentials, okay, and then there will be a key. Alright, so these credentials are mandatory. And then I have some images, so I have, I copied these from repo of Dhawal Patel. So if you want to check, this is Lionel Messi. So first image I1 would be a link to Lionel Messi, then others are of, see, second I2 image will be of Serena Williams, then Mara Sharapova, and again of Mara Sharapova, then this is again of her, and then this is a random girl from Microsoft, some repo, I don't know, but this is it. Alright, so these are links to them. Then I'm gonna have an empty list that will contain all of these URLs. Alright, so detect a face in an image that contains single face. So single face image URL is a variable taking in the URL of Lionel Messi, this picture. Okay, then I'm gonna just get the base name, this base name. I'm gonna just throw away the rest of URL and copy that base name. Alright, then detected face equal to, see, face detect with URL. This is the function of face client that we are going to use to detect the face, and this function won't do much, but it will detect how many faces are in an image. So face dot detect with URL, this is a function of face client class. Alright, so this function is main. Then if not detected faces, it will raise an exception. Okay, so it will raise an exception. Then if not detected faces, if the list is empty, no faces detected, it will tell that there is no face in image. Then otherwise it will assign ID to each faces. Alright, so we have this, we printed the single image name, the base name, then the ID of each faces in that image. So we will assign a specific ID to every face that is found within an image. So assigns ID, this function detects faces from my image and assigns them ID. That's what this function would do. So suppose we have a picture like this, again my terrible art, and there's a smiling man like this who is not smiling at all, and then other person is like this. So what it would do, it would assign an ID to person 1 as well as assign an ID to person 2. Okay, so this is what it is doing. So I'm gonna run this cell so that you can also see. So print is a function which will loop it all. So see, look at the output. Okay, detected face from ID. This is the base name of that image, and then it is giving us 3 IDs. So it identified these 3 people out of that image and gave them some ID. Alright, so this is the only thing that this function would do. It will detect how many faces are in that picture. So this is the picture, and what that function did, it identified this face, this face and this face, and assigned them some sort of ID. Okay, so that's what it did order. So now I'm gonna just see, this is a face list I told you earlier. So okay, so I have this face list which will be a list of all the URLs which are present, and all these images on the tabs that I showed you beforehand of this practical. Okay, so this will be the URL. It will detect all the faces in all the pictures and loop them through. So I'm gonna just run this all to show you. See, in first image there are 3 person, so it gave me 3 IDs. Then 1 person in next image, so there's just one Serena Williams. Then again 1 and now in image 6, see 1 2 3 4 5 6, image 6, which is this one. So there are 4 people, so it gave out 4 IDs. So there are 4 people in it, so it identified 4 faces and gave out 4 IDs. Okay, now this is the next part where we're gonna do something more dirty, like I showed you before. So image detection involves this making a rectangular thing, right? So we identified there are 2 people, but we also want to tell that these boxes contains those faces. So 2 faces were detected, then we made rectangles around those 2 faces. This is the exact purpose of this tutorial, right? So this thing will get us little deeper, not too much, but see, I have this get rectangle function and draw face rectangle function. This is something I copied from the docs, so you can visit again the Microsoft docs, the original ones, and see, the response object is getting a URL which will be passed through detected faces parameter. Then image will open image from that response object. Then draw will draw, obviously it will draw, and then this is it. So draw rectangle function. So if you want to check how this function is working, see, this is basic overview, but if you want to just do something on your own, then you can go to the docs. Then there is this last thing, the img.show. okay, and there was img.show, but okay, this thing you can just have a look at. This is from where I also copied this code. So this is that code. Alright, draw get rectangle and draw rectangle, these 2 functions I copied from here. But this line img.show, it shows your image on a default browser, but we don't want to do that, and also we don't want to print image because it will give us the object description of that variable. Okay, so we don't want the object description, we want to print the image on our Jupyter notebook. So display image is the right function that we are gonna use here. So this is it. Now we have this loop which will just loop through all the URLs in the face list. Okay, faceless list which contains all the URLs, and then I'm not just resizing the images, so it will be little horrible if you will see the outputs, and I want you to do it by yourself. Try to resize them, because this tutorial is not about resizing. You can do that. Okay, PIL offers you lots of functions for that, so it should be like a homework, and the code, everything will be given, and I'll post it on my GitHub. So I'll just loop through all of that URLs which will give me detected faces, then I'll draw rectangles around those faces. So running them, first image, this is of Lionel Messi. 3 faces were identified and all of them have rectangles around them. Now this is where it gets little hazy, so I'll just, okay, this is Serena Williams and it gave me a red rectangle around her face. So this is what we were expecting, and resizing these images is your homework. Alright, so you can just find out, go through something, or go through some readings, PIL libraries of Azure. Now see, this is the last girl from I7th image, and this is the I6th image where there were 4 people. See, rectangles around 4 of them. Okay, this is again Maria Sharapova, again her, and we have got a rectangle around her. So I'm gonna just save this code till now. See, again, see, I've got this beautiful rectangle around her face, and again. So that's how we do face detection using Azure Face Client. So that's all for this tutorial, and hopefully you will be having a better indication about how to solve very basic problems of face detection, and you don't have to start everything from scratch. That's the beauty of APIs. You can leverage the already available APIs on cloud, and we used Azure for this purpose. You can use various other things like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and many others. Credentials that I used were from my university account, and if you want to go through that, you can just use the benefits provided by your respective universities, or you can go with pay as you go option. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.